ceremony and memorial service today with a prayer. So would you please join me in prayer? Lord, we gather here today not to mourn, but to celebrate the life, companionship, and unwavering loyalty and courage of Corporal Max, USMC, retired. Corporal Max served as an IED detection canine, but he was as much a guardian angel as any that could be sent from heaven, and he was the best friend to our nation's finest. He served his master, who served mankind. He saved untold numbers, risking his life each and every time. Through his service and sacrifice, he earned the title of Marine. As the Marine's hymn states, if the Army and the Navy ever look on heaven's scenes, they will find the streets are guarded by United States Marines. And that point will be Corporal Max, always at the ready and always on alert. Semper Fi, friend, you have earned some well-deserved rest and relaxation. Amen.
Welcome to Weatherford College. A special welcome today goes to Lieutenant Colonel Jack L. Wilkes, Captain William Bill Farmer, both representing the Military Order of the World Wars, and Edward Ned Fleming, a Lieutenant Colonel in the U.S. Army. A special welcome also goes out to Staff Sergeant Louis Trevino, Corporal Diaz, Lieutenant Corporal Brockman, Lieutenant Corporal Hawley, and Marine Corps Honor Team from the Naval Air Station Joint Reserve Base, Fort Worth, Texas, and to any other military servicemen and women in the audience today. And finally, a special welcome to John Park and Jeff for allowing Weatherford College to host this ceremony. Today we gather to honor Corporal Max. To some who may not be familiar with the situation, it may seem unusual to conduct a college ceremony to honor a dog. However, Corporal Max was no ordinary dog. He was a Marine service dog who saved countless human lives over the course of 3 tours in Afghanistan and 1 tour in Iraq. Together, we honor Marine service dog who served multiple tours in the most violent conflicts in the world, who suffered 2 heat strokes, who saved many lives, many human lives, by sniffing out IEDs, and who comforted countless Marines suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today as we honor Corporal Max, the Marine service dog. We will now raise the flags.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming out this morning to share this service with us. It feels weird saying that I guess I'm the last one here in the audience today that actually served with Max overseas. I was his platoon commander in 2010-11 and then his executive officer in 2012. So after our deployment 2 days and 8 years ago, I can honestly say that I'm alive because of Max. So we were staying in Helmand Province, a tough mission in a small bazaar, and as one would guess, he did everything right. And so he led us through a very saturated environment with IEDs so that we could get in to rescue 2 Marines who were injured. But it was my team in that village, in that bazaar, and Max being one of those team members, I am very pleased and honored to have him be able to be adopted. It's unfortunate with the heat strokes that caused the life of other IDDs, but put him into my life in a way that allowed me to take care of him like he took care of me. So I appreciate it. My family has appreciated those years with Max. Luckily, he survived cancer long enough so that he actually lived longer outside the uniform than he did while wearing it. So I have my memories of him as being part of my IDD detection teams. He was one of 3. We've since then lost another dog 2 years ago, Finn, who went to one of my AAA amputees. But like I said, words can't express how much gratitude I have to all you who are here, for those who supported the IDD program. They're invaluable service and they're Marines just like us. Thank you.
I would like to thank everyone for coming out today to honor Corporal Max. He touched many lives over the past years. I'd also like to thank Weatherford College for allowing us the opportunity to hold Max's memorial on the campus. He spent a lot of time on this campus, 7 years of Merit Badge College. He went everywhere with me, and he walked the halls, he walked the campus, so this is home to him. Thank you, Dr. Farmer, Brent Baker, and Ralph Willingham. Without their help, and Ralph especially for organizing this, we want to say thank you. And for the honor team from the Joint Reserve Base, thank you very much for being here for us. Max was known as Miracle Max because he survived tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. 2 life-threatening heat strokes. Our vet said he's never seen a dog who survived 1 major heat stroke, let alone 2, but he did. He also was given 30 days to live after they found he had cancer. But fortunately, after chemo and radiation, he was cancer-free and he survived 16 more months. It was the kidneys that got him. He loved going to schools, nursing homes, churches, civic clubs, and military organizations. He was always aware of people's needs. I remember the one time we went to a nursing home and one of the retired soldiers could not make it down to the front. And so he asked, could we bring Max back to his room? And so we did. He was laying in bed and he said, I'd sure like to have Max, and he tapped his chest, and Max immediately jumped up on the bed and laid down on his shoulder. It made his day. Max was cool. He was calm. He understood situations. We took him to many schools, and I learned in my giving of a talk about military working dogs, all the kids wanted was just to pet him. And Max loved that. So Max made it to a lot of schools and got a lot of love pats. He went to a lot of military organizations and became part of their group. I'm wearing my Boy Scout uniform because Max immediately, because he adopted me as the handler. He went everywhere with me to all my Boy Scout events, and so he was adopted by the Boy Scouts of America. Squirrels used to line up on the fence and watch him play. They weren't scared of him. He had an aura of calmness to him, and animals weren't afraid. We'd go on walks. And I will add that if you fertilized and we took him on a walk, we figured it'd be about a 45-minute walk, but it came close to 2 hours because he thought maybe there's a bomb in that yard because fertilizer is a major source. If you came to our house, your car got checked out, your truck did, because he still wanted to work and make sure that they were safe for our house. He was an ambassador for working dogs. The purpose of going around to many of these organizations was because there was a bill before the House and Senate back in 2015 called the Military Working Dog Retirement Act, because up till then, military dogs were considered equipment. And if they were taken out of service overseas, they were left over there unless someone had the money to bring them back, either the handler or some organization. Otherwise, they were left over there. And the bill provided that all the dogs, after serving, would automatically be brought back as personnel and they'd be offered to their handlers. And we were trying to get the people to call their congressmen and senators to get it out. And thanks to all of you and many others, it was accomplished and signed into action. So now dogs are considered personnel rather than equipment. As I said, he was a hero dog. You can find Max in a book called Soldier Dog. When I first, Jeff brought Max home, I started getting calls. Could I give a talk about military dogs and Max? And we didn't know anything. So Julie went to the library and checked out a lot of books. And as she's sitting there reading chapter 28 of Soldier Dog, she's reading a story about Max. So that was our first introduction. You know, when you think about Max, if you ever met him, he looked like an ordinary dog, but he was a mixed breed, and he loved catching frisbees. He loved playing ball. If you want, Jeff, well, I'll do it. One of the determinations of will a dog make it through training, because many dogs don't make it out of training. They just can't keep the attention span. But if they want a toy, they've learned they can train him. And Max, I can tell you, he wants this toy. If you had this toy in your hand, this is what they threw at the end of the day. Based on how many bombs they found, they'd throw it. Max was proficient. And Jeff brought Max in, gave us this toy, and he had to go to another event real quick before he went back to California. So we went out and played. I gave it to him. Jeff comes in the house and said, "Dad, why does Max have that toy?" I said, "You said it's his." He said, that's when he explained that we threw it each time. He said he must have thought he found every bomb in the entire neighborhood. But he's not just a dog. He's an important dog. He's been at a wedding. Wayne and Bonnie, who are his second parents, and she'll step out. Let's give them a hand, because they carry him for many years with us. But he called and said, "Do you think Max could be a ring bearer in a Marine wedding?" And we thought about it and said, well, you know, he hadn't done it to our knowledge, but anyway, he was a ring bearer. And the funny story they told me was before he started walking down the aisle with the rings, the young man said, "Go back and find out what rank he is. I may have to salute him." So it worked out all right. But he was well trained. He loved people. More specifically, you know, if you ever were around Max, he just had that calming effect. As they mentioned earlier, Dr. Farmer and them, Max, for post-traumatic stress, or any dog in a war zone, is perfect for young men who are under stress, because it makes them feel at home, makes them feel like they're back there, and relaxes them. He served, as Jeff mentioned, in combat for many tours, and he didn't flinch, didn't bother. Some dogs, as Jeff told me, got post-traumatic stress just like people, but Max didn't, fortunately. Anyway, Max is an outstanding dog. So let's talk about some other important things for him. It's easy to see why Jeff fell in love with Max if you were around him. He was highly intelligent, easygoing, well-behaved, and absolutely adorable. Now, I'll tell you a short story. Whenever we got ready to go somewhere, Julia would say to me, or I would, "Are you ready?" Well, Max could be sound asleep in another room, and all of a sudden I look up and Max is at the door ready. He heard that word "ready," and he knew he had to be at attention and going. So Julie and I figured out, we'll spell it. Well, how intelligent is this young dog? Wasn't a few times and he figured out what R-E-A-D-Y meant, and he would be at the door. Now, there would be times, because of the heat stroke, we had to be very cautious in taking him with us in the heat. But Max figured out that if he beats me out the door and he stands behind the car, I won't leave him. So he's very intuitive on that part. Max became part of our family, endeared ourselves to us, and it made it very tough in there. He gave unselfish, countless love to other soldiers and stuff. And our family want to thank Max because he's bringing our son back. As Jeff said, he saved him not only one, but 3 times in the minefields. One of the challenges you have, if you're unaware, when somebody gets blown up and they lose an arm or leg, if you don't get to them in a very timely manner, they're going to bleed to death. And Jeff, his comment was, we don't have time to get all the equipment and find everything and get them to the men fast enough, but he learned if you can get the dogs to them, they can get them picked up, put them on a stretcher and on a helicopter and save their life. And that's what Max did very good at. Again, I want to thank Bonnie and Wayne for all they did for us. They were lifesavers. Max loved them dearly. Meant a lot to him. All I can say is thank you. But let me tell you about a flag that is going to be presented or it's up here on the table. It's the smaller table of the thing. I got this today. Sir, please accept this flag. It served in over 300 missions in Iraq. This flag was with me 4 tours in Iraq and has served under the Army, the Marines, and the Air Force. I know Max served well and saved many lives. The lives of those he served are represented in this flag that returned home after years in battle. Many warriors were lost, but many will never be the same. Please allow me to pass this piece of history on to you in remembrance of your brave warrior Max. This flag went on missions with the Marine Corps Sniper Team, the 4th IDD, the 3rd IED Striker Team, the 1st Cavalry, and many Special Forces missions. This flag entered the war and flew across Iraq in the worst conditions. This flag flew in the hospitals in Germany where many were recovering from wounds from the battle, and this flag returned to war many times and has a long history. Just as Max represented the honor and courage, so does this flag. I make this request that in honor of your brave warrior, this flag is raised during the camporee. We have a scout camporee coming up next week. That all can see and honor those who served, those who were lost in serving this country, and those that were saved. Again, on behalf of all of us and our family, we want to thank you and the honor team for being here and representing the Marines for us. In closing, I'd like to invite you, or if you want, to come forward and see his ashes up here. See some of the vest he wore, his collar with his rank and service tour. Some of the pictures. The funniest one is I took him to Santa Claus this December, and I was so focused on making sure he was focused, I wasn't paying attention to what Santa Claus was doing, and he was saluting me. Well, thank you for coming and being here, and have a great week.